All right, welcome to class. We are continuing our lecture of reciprocals and dividing by negative numbers. So this is Algebra 1, Chapter 1.6b. I left off with this as my answer to this, but I did not yet get to the reciprocal. And so here it is, and I'm just going to quickly squeeze it in there. Let's move on to dividing by negative numbers. Alright, so here we are with a fraction where we have 18 divided by negative 2. One thing I should note, and I haven't really stressed, and I really should have earlier, is that this is the very same thing as 18 divided by negative 2. These can be written these ways, and again, I should have gone over this idea earlier, because sometimes we'll be given problems like this, and we'll need to rewrite them like this. So here I've done a couple things. I've taken the negative sign out. I put parentheses out here so we can clearly see that the negative sign is separated from the fraction now. It still applies, but it's just out here. And I've changed my 18 into a 9 times 2 so I can cancel my 2's, which gives me negative 9 divided by 1. Now with a problem like 20 divided by negative 10, I should expect that you could envision this, and then you'll cancel your 10s, not forget your 1, and you'll finally end up with a negative 2. Well, here, two negative signs, so give it a thought, and let's see what you come up with. Hopefully you realize or are envisioning that these negative signs can be sort of taken out as negative ones, and I did that for both, so we can clearly see that those cancel out, leaving us with something to reduce on top and bottom, and our final answer is 8/7. Apologies, this should have been a 14. Hey, the math witch can make mistakes, but the math witch is still magic. Due to my mistake, I'll quickly do another similar problem. Alright, I've done a bunch of steps here, and I've broken everything down to my product of primes. 2's and 3's cancel, and I'm left with just 3. Now, 0 is a very important number in math, and we really haven't touched on it a whole lot yet, but it definitely is going to come up a whole bunch later. Here we have a fraction with 0 on top and a 4 on the bottom. This basically means that you have nothing out of 4 sections or pieces, whatever you want to call it. So nothing out of 4 is just nothing. The fact that there's a negative sign there in this case is kind of a special case. It really doesn't matter because we wouldn't put a negative 0 there. 0 is neither negative nor positive. It's just 0. Now here we have something that may seem the same, but it's actually quite different. Whenever anything is divided by 0, it's not 0, it is undefined, meaning it doesn't even exist. At least in a case like this, hey, we could say our value is 0. Over here, we can't even say that our value is 0. Our value does not exist, because what this is saying is we're saying we have 5 out of something that doesn't even have any amount of sections. Here we have 4 sections and we have nothing out of those 4 sections. Here we have no sections, so we can't have anything if we have no sections. This problem is undefined. Alright, now for a problem like this, I first want you to realize something. This problem can be written like this, but we are not going to do that in this case. I just would like to make you aware that oftentimes we'll be given a problem like this and we will need to see it this way, and then sometimes we'll have a problem like this and we'll need to see it this way. Now I've rewritten this problem to make it much easier. The dividing sign changes to multiplication when I find the reciprocal of this value, which I've done. Now here, notice I have my 3/1. I'm going to keep my phantom 1 because this will help me a little bit in thinking through this problem. Now in rewriting it, I didn't really do it the best. This is how I chose to do my notation. Hopefully you could see why I left my 1 here. On the bottom it's going to be a 7 times 1, and on the top 6 times -3, which gives me a -18 divided by 7, which is my final answer because 7 is a prime. Let's look at -1/10 divided by -8/11. Notice everything I've done when I've rewritten this. The -1/10 has stayed the same. My 8/11 has been flipped, and I've changed my division sign to multiplication. Now, I have been writing a lot of -1s up here to show you exactly what's going on, but at this point, if you see two negative signs being multiplied by each other, you should know right away this is going to be a positive answer. I'm not going to be doing that anymore for you, so hopefully you've caught on to that trick. Two negatives are going to give you a positive. Now I just have 11 divided by 10 times 8. Nothing can be canceled, so my final answer is 11/80ths. Alright, here's an interesting problem that, at first glance we might just dig into this problem, flip our 4/9 and see what results. But if we look at it the way I had shown you a problem earlier, now I've written the fraction 4/9 divided by 4/9 in just a different way, but as you can see, yes, this one, let me make a correction here. Alright, thanks for your patience. Actually, the negative sign was here, so I've put the negative sign with this 4/9, and now I should move it down here, which is a legal move. And I even changed my mind on that thought. I've actually just put 4/9 over 4/9, and I brought my negative sign completely out to show that, hey, it's still, the whole number is still negative, but at this point I should be able to clearly see that the same thing over the same thing, these are going to cancel out, and I'm just going to end up with a 1. And so my final answer is -1. Alrighty, kids. Thank you for joining us in this session. I will see you next time. Have a great